I heard a story about a hawk, an ant, and a rock, where one day the hawk and the ant were resting by the rock, and they were gloating about their impact on the world, their contributions. And the hawk boastfully said, if it wasn't for me, often people would find dead carcasses of animals decaying along the side of the road and often struggle with the smell. So I help to alleviate that, and I also help to allow other species the opportunity to have an adequate amount of vegetation because I keep the rodent population down. And the ant chimed in and said, I too contribute greatly. I belong to a large organization where I contribute to a greater good, and I help to clear the debris from the forest, and I also help to store food for a larger group of family and friends. And man, it's beautiful to be a part of something and leave an impact. And they both simultaneously looked over at the rock, and at the same time they said, man, life would suck to be a rock. And the rock quietly said, what do you think? I don't leave an impact? Well, I do. In fact, if you two would just nudge me over, I'll show you. And so the hawk and the ant walked over to the rock, and they began to nudge the rock and flip the rock over. And under the rock, they saw dozens of insects and worms and millipedes and spiders. And the rock said, see, I provide a home and a shelter for all those species. But not only that, look at how deep of an impression I left in the earth. And the hawk stepped down, and the ant walked over, and they walked into this deep impression that the rock had left in the earth. And they said, man, how'd you do this? I mean, we saw you as nothing but an inanimate, lifeless object. How did you do this? How did you leave such a huge impact? And the rock said, through focus and consistency. If you leave me anywhere, my goal is to leave an impression. And matter of fact, if a human being was to come along and grab me and throw me somewhere else, in due time, if you came and nudged me along, you too would find that again, I was providing a home for other insects, and I leave an impression in the earth. None of us was brought into this world to leave without making a huge impact and contribution. Out of 1,000,000 some odd sperms, you are here, and you are here to leave an impression. Unlike the rock, which is inanimate, what's your excuse?